Well, you can always feel free to grace the meeting with the little one.
Yeah.
We're kid friendly.
Yeah.
But then that's going to throw off his sleep schedule so much. And I've gotten him in bed between 5 and 6 p.m. for the last few months. I don't want to mess that up.
That's your call as a mom. We're just saying that this is a pro-family org. You got to have your kids. We just had a recall debate, and the guy had his daughter on. So, because she wanted hugs in the middle of the debate. So that's what he it was really.
That's adorable.
It was very heartwarming.
It was a total awe moment.
Yeah, it was. I'm wondering, like, did he tell her, like, give daddy a hug midway through the debate, while I'm telling everybody I love kids. I was just saying, it was pretty smooth. It was pretty smooth. I was like, oh. Okay, this is the culture.
It was so smooth, it could have been natural, too, though.
Maybe. This is the Culture Committee. I think this is the second meeting, and it is now approved by Congress and headed by Christine Howard Eshmawi. Christine, take us away.
So our goals for today were to start working on more professional aspects and how we can boost our professionalism. Jason, what did you find in your research?
Honestly, I have not actually been able to get around to it. I have been working on
everything else. Yeah.
Everything else for me.
Yeah.
Everything else for me. It's my fault.
I can say though, I have thought about it, and so the Marin Interfaith Street Chaplaincy that I helped I was a deacon for years, technically still am. That's what I opened the ministry of kind of loaves and fishes based, feed the community, fancy schmancy food for free. Bring everyone together, right? That was formed out of the 501c4 shell of the production company that we had started, which was provide dinner and a show, right? Which was formed ultimately from the original chaplaincy. So my work over the last 13, 14 years it's like 14 or 15 now. Whoa. It has led me to meet all sorts of people. I've done all sorts of trainings with the chaplaincy. I think I mentioned before at another point that we spent a weekend at the Green Gulch Zen Farm up on Mount Tamalpais, and spent a weekend in a huge yurt that fit all 12 to 15 of us very comfortably, but there together all weekend, and we had speakers that the chaplaincy brought in. It was our deacons training, all sorts of Reverend Dr. Curran Reichert, who is a great woman of power, by the way.
Nice.
A good friend as well. So if you're in the kick of getting LGBTQ ministers here on the platform with the Congress talking, let me know. I can reach out to her. But she actually had come in that weekend and provided one of the more valuable kind of trust exercises. But there's all sorts of, there's creativity exercises, there's trust exercises. Got to take breaks in between when you're doing a whole weekend getaway, right? So we would go and take walks down to the beach and, just not do a big group thing for a few, and then reconvene in a little bit and get back to it. So, there are many different things we can consider. A lot of the time, these special guests, right, they specialize with a certain thing, a certain message. So we may want to reach out to many. As far as names and stuff, I could compile. I could also gently reach out to different folks. I mean, my former chaplain, my spiritual advisor, he teaches at the seminary here in Marin County. So I'm sure he would be willing to come and help do some like team building, leadership training on a Zoom, right? I mean, he's got a wife with health issues that he's got to be very, very cautious and very, very safe for her sake. But Zoom, so there are all sorts of possibilities to consider, and I've thought about it greatly, but I haven't really compiled it all, and for that I apologize.
That's all good. We'll get started.
Life happens.
But this is the thing where we go, oh, I'm supposed to do that, right? And then the next week you do come through. Sure. Christine,
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, and then Jason, if you're cool with it. So it's about 3 minutes. How about this? I need a break. I'll just leave the recording on. Y'all just talk. I'll come back in an hour and end the recording. So it's your meeting. Talk about whatever you want. Jason knows. I have this thing where the brain gets full, where it's just.
It's okay. Today was a busy day. I understand.
This is what you're going to get if I stick around. So not very leadership-like. Jason's seen me when my brain's not working, and it's not fun for anyone. Right, Jason? Not fun for anybody, right?
Yeah, that's why, Christine, don't tell Marcus, but our super secret pet name for Marcus behind his back, totally always behind his back, never to his face, is El Pollo Loco. Sometimes Los Grande Pollo Loco.
I love yes. So let me take a break. If Christine, you're the moderator, if I have your permission, I'd like to take off for my evening. The record will stay on. I'll come back in an hour and hit record. You and Jason talk for as long as you want about whatever you want. May I have your permission, Christine?
Yes.
I would like to, thank you, as a member of the committee, paneled by you, that was the thing. Now, as president, I would like to give one last request to the committee. That's Jason and Christine. I want more women in here, and I want more diversity. And while the culture committee is about making us more professional, and it is, and that is the focus, and I'm very big about not doing mission creep. So the culture committee is about how to make us a professional, high performance team group where we debate, where we have high performance teams. Absolutely. If there's any way we can wed in that, including LGBTQ people and more women, then great. That is not the priority for this committee. If we have to make a separate committee called Reaching Out to LGBTQ and Women, then okay. But if there's any way that the two of you, if I could just put a little bird in your ear while you're culture committee professionalism, that is the point. You can merge these other goals in there by any way. Thank you. But it's not the key goal. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah. And so one quick thing before you go, March 8th is I think it might be Global Women's Day.
Thank you.
So we need to get a speech prepared and a statement put out to be released on March 8th.
Understood.
So Jason, if you're okay with that, that's something we could actually focus in on tonight and work on that.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Records on.
Yeah, Marcus
Mwah,
Marcus
mwah,
knows
mwah, mwah.
my speech writing stuff, you know. Little pat on my own back there, but
Oh, he's Shakespeare, Christine. He's
Oh,
Shakespeare.
good, because I am not.
yeah, I don't exactly talk like Shakespeare off the cuff, especially not when I'm not recorded.
Actually, Marcus, can you come back here? Marcus,
Marquinho.
Marco Polo.
You needed screen share ability, didn't you?
I just texted him. Yeah, because, okay, so as far as culture committee goes, I am in the same boat as you, and I did not do hardcore research. I just did thinking on it. But I do think for next week, doing creativity exercises, trust exercises. I also thought about philanthropic projects, and that could also tie into publicity projects for Yes Cal. And then reaching out. So you said reaching out to chaplain organization, team building, leadership exercises, and then the request from Marcus. So pretty much, I think creativity, I can't talk tonight. So we need to start coming up with ways we can do these things on Zoom. Like, obviously we can't do a trust fall on Zoom because we're going to have a bunch of people with broken noggins. So
yeah, my phone won't really catch me so well.
mine either. So I think let's just brainstorm this week for next Monday on ways we can do these things through Zoom. And then one thing with this committee, I'd prefer to have the culture committee go before the rules committee, because a lot of the things that we develop in the committee, the culture committee, leads to rules. So having it first and then rules, I think
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because they are fairly closely tied together.
Yeah. And then
so for the Global Women's Day speech,
yes.
I would totally love to be go big or go home with it. If we have it in printed form and Marcus doesn't have to go through it, we can make it as long or short as we see fit. I know Marcus's preferred manual reading length for speeches, though, does not really provide for the go big or go home. It's more of Shakespeare in 30 words or less, although not 30, just, you know, Shakespeare in as few of words as possible.
Okay, so for the speech for Women's Day, he wants to use this as, and Marcus, whenever you come back, I don't want the speech writing on the record for members to see. I'm putting that out there. Please cut from now to the end off. Sorry, Jason, like, yeah. Okay, so
I'm all right with the speech writing being up there.
I'm not,
I mean,
it shows a little too much behind the curtain.
yeah. Oh, yeah, because this is still culture committee, so it's still going to be posted public, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
But doing speed writing for Marcus, that's stuff that needs to, the Great Wizard of Oz does not need to be, shown.
Yeah, that is very true. They don't need to see the Great Wizard of Oz before the Great Wizard puts on the production.
Yep.
I mean, they can see it after and be like, "Oh, there was a man behind the curtain." Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Exactly. Yeah. And so let's see. Do I
Yeah, so Marcus, definitely you guys to cut that. It would be nice. Mm.
yeah, I'm still here. I
Are you gonna send him a message and see if you can get a hold of him?
well, I already sent him a message. So what I'm doing is just moving my location. Um, I was still having the glitching issue when I was talking to you guys, and I got a little notification from, oh, wait, the California flag is moving. Marcus, are you close? Are you by the computer? Hello. Yeah, so I'm just seeing if getting closer to my router is gonna help.
Marcus, we need you.
Marcus.
Calling Lazarus forth from the grave. Marcus, arise. Come forth, Marcus. Sorry, I was a theater nerd.
So, oh, I was a techie. I understand. Yeah, no, my husband made a comment when we first got married. He's like, "Are you trying to emasculate me by having more tools than me?" No, but you
Well,
actually know
I
how to
mean
use all of them.
that could be played well by him if he realizes it. He could realize, well, as a man, like I've gotta have at least as much tools as my wife, if not more, right? So that's an excuse to go out and buy new tools, which is like most dudes in America's, big thing or whatever.
Yeah. Well, he inherited all of my dad's tools. That my dad left that to him. So he now has more tools than I do.
Yeah, well, an inherited lifetime of tools can be a whole lot of tools. And while some of them might be really old and need refurbishing, they usually can be refurbished and used for a very long time afterwards. And the
Oh, I
ones that
still
aren't
I
like
still
that
have
are,
my grandfather's stuff from the 40s and I use it.
yeah, yeah, right. Well, and they don't make them like they used to. um, yeah, everything's, plastic now. Whereas back then, everything was like, cast metal and hand ground gears and cogs with precision that, like, I mean, there's the precision of the machine, but then ultimately, if the human doesn't double check every last thing in ultimate detail, the precision doesn't matter because flaws still get through. Um, Whereas, the one who makes it by hand, knowingly and lovingly, right? They put great thought, great detail, and, they, you'd be hard pressed to find a flaw in anything they ever touched, right?
My grandfather was a carpenter by trade and everything like handmade, hand the joint work. So I have a desk from him and you don't need screws to put it together. Like his math was that precise. And it's yeah, the craftsmanship is a whole different level. Don't get me wrong, I like my IKEA, but it is a whole
Oh, yeah. convenient.
Without IKEA, my 8-month pregnant self would not have been able to put my son's nursery together.
Well, now see, that is a very, very important thing right there. Yeah. Yeah. See, everything has its.
Yeah. Okay, so speech writing. Sorry. You and I know, can talk for hours and hours and hours about everything. So we got a week to get this done.
Yeah, well, and my ultimate thing is like if I'm given a week, a 7-day timeline, then I try to get it done in 5 in case there's any last adjustments needing to be made.
And that's a good policy to have. So you said Marcus is a 30 words or less guy. Let's try to expand that a little bit, but then we can also have a written graphic, and I can design a poster for International Women's Day with like the full thing that we come up with, that we can post onto social media and as well as the forum, so it can be shared.
Yeah, when I said 30 words or less, it wasn't exactingly literal. If you've seen the video with the speech on solidarity with Artsakh and Armenia, that's something that I wrote. I do believe it was originally longer, but Marcus had me tone it down. One, because some of it did need to be toned down. Oh, the organization can't exactly. I mean, there's a fine line where we have to stay up, right?
Would you mind sending me the link so that I can watch that video?
Yeah, I don't know. If I pop up YouTube, it might start auto playing and shut out my Zoom. Oh my God, Kit Kat, you stole my seat. Yeah, my seat. She's been bratty today. I don't know why.
It's a cat thing today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so Troubles will literally like hide under the bed in the bedroom, and I can't get her out. So I put him to bed, and then when she wants let out, she puts her paw under the door and hits it against the door jamb. And that's how she woke him up, because she was doing it so hard. And
Oh,
it woke him up.
yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, like
Wow.
when I opened the door, I was like, I hate you. And she just ran out. Like, obviously, I don't hate my cat.
Yeah, right. It's sometimes it's like, dang it, I hate you right now just for a moment, but you're lucky. I really do love you. I told my cat that last night. She hissed at me. She stole my seat, and when I tried to sit back down, she hissed at me.
When Troubles does that, I'm like, okay, well, we got to share the space. So I just like sort of shimmy in there and she'll move over. But I talk to my cat like I talk to a person. Um, that's how I met my neighbors in Atlanta one time. Like literally, I'm walking out the door. I'm like, okay, have a good day. I'll see you later. I closed the door and I looked over and my neighbors are standing there. I'm like, hi. I was just talking to my cat. I'm not crazy, I promise.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah, no,
their 4-year-old found out I had a cat, and then he was like, "Oh, I want to see the cat."
yeah, right. Everyone loves cats. Like I've heard some people say they hate cats, but when you get them around a friendly cat, like no one's ever not, oh, come here, sweetie kitty. I dear kitty cat.
Exactly. Yeah.
The instant baby talk, I do it. I can admit that openly.
No judgment. I grew up with cats. Always been a cat person. Although my husband last
Wow.
weekend decided to be like, "Oh, so here's an idea, just to think about, when Numair gets older, how about we get him a dog?" And I was just like, no, that's not even worth trying to think
So
about.
I just found the actual written version of speech of the Armenian Solidarity.
Okay.
I am pasting it in our personal chat.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, yay, it pasted
Whoa.
it all. Yeah, so it is actually a bit lengthier than I thought. And Marcus did humor me on it, but I did, because I was like, everything that's in here has to be said. But it did get cut down some, not too much, right? It wasn't like a hack job, but it did need to. I had submitted like 3 different rough drafts before this was the final. I'm just gonna keep my mic muted while I'm searching through because there's a lot of background noise.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's I don't, unfortunately, I don't have the actual link to the actual video. It's on Marcus's um YouTube channel up there, and it wasn't from that long ago, right? Right around summertime.
Okay.
So
I'm on his YouTube channel right now.
okay. Yeah, and it should be yes, California official statement on Armenian solidarity or something like that.
He has over 400 videos.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I will find that and play it later. I did read through the speech. I
Okay.
think
Ultimately, of the video, he just reads the speech. He says, "This is the official statement of Yes California on this, as written by our Bay Area regional coordinator, Jason Wright, and then, approved by me, and then he reads it."
okay, so I think what we need to do is instead of it being like so stiff and formal, like this is our official position, um, we need to have it being more personable, like Happy Women's Day, Happy International Women's Day. And
Oh,
then,
yeah, yeah. The topic is definitely a lot happier of a topic. I mean, the whole reason why we had to make that statement was because no one of all of the world's leading nations was stepping forth. And it took California leading the way to get like France and Germany and, other European Union nations to start saying something even. Which is why the president of France, I believe, why he decided to say, in his speech when talking about where Armenians live outside of Armenia, uh, they live in Artsakh, they live in France, they live in Belgium, they live in California, and they live in Canada. And it's like, you know, didn't didn't say the United States. Naming off countries there included Artsakh in the list with countries, as well as California. President of France. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Macron.
um, okay, so I'm gonna send you the link for the International Women's Day official website. Um, the theme this year is women in leadership, which I think aligns perfectly
Good.
with.
Can we not talk about Kamala at all, please?
Oh no, she needs to be the highlight.
Oh, really?
Um,
I want. See, my thing is like whenever I hear people. Now, I do agree. Historically speaking, women have been very underrepresented, very, very disenfranchised, held down. I'm very much on that boat. Um, I think too many people discredit some of the most notable examples of some of the most powerful women ever in the history of humanity recording history. I'm talking like Sheba, right? The queen of the Nubian Empire,
Jason,
who
I was
conquered
being
Egypt.
facetious.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, and see, this is like the thing that I go on is, I want to, point out that there are these examples. And because of these examples, right, that too many people forget, too many people readily, there's no women in power. What do you think the Queen of England is? She's a woman and she's in power. You're going to say she's not,
well,
right?
nowadays
So,
it's not really, you know, Queen of
Well, and
England.
I understand her role is more of a figurehead. However, she has some insane powers that a lot of Americans don't realize, that they would be like, oh my God, I'm never stepping foot in England or anywhere on British Empire soil ever. Because if you're an American, you're a traitor to the crown. And while they usually don't come after you, you give them a good enough reason. All they have to do is be like, hey, you're one of them bloody, colonials.
Yeah. Something written on their website. We celebrate all women in all their diversities. We embrace their facets and intersections of faith, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual identity, or disability. We celebrate those who came before us, those who stand beside us now, and those who will come after. So that aligns perfectly with
Mm,
California ideals.
okay. Yeah. And then the Queen Khalifa thing, right? I mean, it's a mythological yada yada, but I mean, a nation decided to take that as its name based on this golden goddess of power and justice or whatever, right? Like, I mean, we could really we could hammer home historic examples, both like California's very own namesake, as well as you know uh, current, which my favorite is actually Nicola Sturgeon. I wish we had her here.
Nicola Sturgeon.
Yes, the First Minister of Scotland.
Ah, got it. And then, oh, the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Yeah, I gotta say, she is another one. I have seen some recent stuff where people are like, oh my God, they're going crazy hardcore. They're violating rights down there that we would never stand for. We would have fought 3 revolutions by now. And like, look at the effect that they've had. They took the extreme but appropriate measures from the get go when it was necessary. They did it right then, and they kept up with it until they were 100% free and clear. And now all they have to do is not let contaminated people come in and recontaminate them, and they'll continue to be free of corona.
And then,
Man, oh man. And we got astronauts, we got physicists, we got NASA naming all sorts of stuff after, the unsung, and there's air quotes, my video's not, but the unsung heroes of NASA, some of whom were like notably not white and or not male.
oh, believe me,
Therefore, their
Figures
contributions went to white men.
Hidden Figures is one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
So when they speak about Redstone in Hidden Figures, that's Huntsville, Alabama. That's where I went to high school.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually the first time you ever said Huntsville, I was like, oh. Like, it's the only place in all of Alabama that would make me go, oh.
Yeah, and I mean more PhDs per capita than New York City. Like, it's not a dumb town. So
Yeah, now that statistic I didn't know. That is also really whoa. Awesome.
yeah, Angela and Angela Merkel, that's another one.
Yep. Angela Merkel. Um,
And then
I would also like to include like, well, Finland is, I'm not sure who the current one is, but I know recently they had a female prime minister. My my Vili, my brother in arms, as it were, uh, in Finland. He's not big on politicians, whether
Santa
they're
Marin.
honest or huh?
Santa Marin.
Yeah, yeah,
She's the current prime
Anna Marin.
minister.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I can't believe I forgot her name, Marin County. Although over there it would be like Marin, Marin, the
Yeah,
way they roll their R's.
I
Hard.
think with the Women's Day speech, if we focus in on female political leaders, this will draw focus on us wanting to recruit more female members.
Okay. Well, and on that note, I would also say, you hit on past, present, future generation, uh, like her, lover, leave her, whatever, Greta Thunberg.
Well,
I mean, she
okay.
brought some serious global awareness to a serious global issue that then, there was enough steam behind it that ultimately,
Oh yeah,
governments felt mandated by their people.
she's tiny. She's 4'11".
Hey, dynamite comes in small packages for a reason, right?
Yeah. Oh, her book, one of her books, I guess, is No One is Too Small to Make a Difference. That fits perfectly.
Yeah. Wow. And I think we should you know, like do this in a way that's honoring all of these women and girls, young women around the world, right? Is, you know, like really, really honor them for their achievements, contributions, and the hope that they instill. And, the proof that they bring to the table that women are just as much viable as any other part of global society.
Oh, okay.
Something like that, right? I mean, that would be my like Shakespearean touch on it.
I'm pulling up my notepad right now.
Oh, shoot, what did I just say? At least it's on recording.
True.
Marcus, is there a rewind button?
Okay. Mm, okay. Okay, so taking what you said and also adding some more, we want to highlight and honor the contributions of all women, past, present, future. We stand by the fact that no matter what race, sexual orientation, religion, or personal beliefs, that all women are just as capable and strong as their male counterparts.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would say, I mean, this is just my Shakespearean thought, right? If instead of just as strong, which has a good punch to it, so it doesn't necessarily need to be changed, right? Just throwing down some ideas.
Yeah,
I like to say viable. You know, a lot of the stuff that I've heard over the years about why women can't be politician and can't be president and yada yada, right? Is because they're not viable. It they're this, that, the other, which makes them ultimately not viable. Um, so cutting straight to the issue and cutting that out and saying, no, women are just as viable as men, right? It says you're useful. There is, you know, purpose. There is strength. There is, you know, there's something of substance here. Strong says that too. It's just that strong invokes a little too general, and like a lot of people take it a little more like, you know, yeah, you know, I'm California strong, or I'm, you know, Armenia strong, right? Like it becomes like a fad. And
yeah,
we're we're saying much more than that, of like, no, this goes beyond that. This is a very real, very serious, like, you know.
yeah. I changed it to just as viable. Um,
I mean, do you like that? What are let me hear your thoughts.
um,
Shooting on some more words, some more, you know. I mean, you
I'm
know, there's like a bazillion different words for every single thing. So
yeah, and I'm pulling up Merriam-Webster.
nice.
Capable of working, functioning, or developing adequately. Capable of existence and development as an independent unit. Having a reasonable chance of succeeding, financially sustainable. So yeah, I think that'll work.
Well, viable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's viable. And then synonyms are achievable, attainable, doable, feasible, possible, practical. What? Practicable?
Practicable.
Real? What the? I
No,
have
I don't know.
never. No. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the chat. Look at the last, not the last one, but the two before it. I think they're that.
Practicable and realizable.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Yeah, I can't speak and I can't think tonight.
It's okay. Hey.
I literally was on the phone for 5 hours today dealing with legal stuff with my dad. Like, I think most of my brain cells went to that today.
Well, I mean, I am still drinking on another 240 milligram of caffeine Rockstar. So, which is like, 4 cups of really strong coffee. Uh,
So I used
so
to
yeah,
down energy drinks and then I got pregnant and I went through my entire pregnancy living off 1 cup of coffee a day
oof.
after being the type of person who did multiple energy drinks throughout the day. Now, like I look at that stuff and I'm like, I'm actually grossed out. Like I've probably only had like 4 or 5 Red Bulls since having my kid.
Yeah, yeah. Really good buddy of mine he had some stomach problems. He's got like, his dad had it too. And he didn't have it for his whole life, but he, working hard, getting up early in the morning, working, not 9 to 5, but like, 6 to 8. Open to close every day, 7 days a week for like a year or two solid, and just pounding energy drinks like they were water. And yeah, he can't even just, like, but I guess last time he touched one was months ago when the stomach stuff was just too much.
Yeah, like I miss it. Like I miss like the energy and the jolt. Um, Especially like I have ADHD and the caffeine just helps. Because I'm not medicated for it anymore because I had a wonderful doctor who said they did not believe in it and refused to prescribe it. So I had a year and a half of trying to learn how to function without medication. Caffeine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it I was kind of explaining this to Marcus, is that like I use my brain of all of my body, I use my brain the most. And I work it hardcore to the bone, and it has no bone. And so like I'll end up like the caffeine keeps it stimulated, keeps it firing, keeps me functioning high quality. And I'll keep going to go. But without the caffeine, I wear out very quickly, and like I don't just metaphorically get headaches from it, right? Like I can feel actual throbbing pain in varying parts of my brain as I'm using it. Like just straight up overstimulated.
Mm.
And it's like the caffeine just kind of, helps the electrical impulses get to where they're going a little smoother, a little more smoothly, I guess. I I think I should probably make sure to say things properly if we're gonna be doing speed writing, right?
Mm.
So back to um so some of these words we definitely, for obvious reasons, could not use. Uh, like
Yeah, and this
the
is just a
second,
brain dump at this point.
yeah. Well, I'm just, I'm looking at them, giving them fair look over. Um, one doesn't fit. 2 and 3 would definitely sound very, very bad. Um, 4 kind kind of similar, but it also has, I mean,
You don't use
got a
feasible
weird,
for, you don't use
yeah,
feasible
right.
for people.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a weird connotation if you're going to use it for a person. Practicable, realizable, workable, possible is all kind of the same thing. Not really relatable to people. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like if we're cool with viable, we can go with viable. I just wanted to make sure we do our due diligence and really look everything over.
Yeah, I'm fine with viable. Um,
So to
so
to honor, yeah.
I also just brain dump, but uh I wrote this. The theme of the International Women's Day this year is leadership. From the annals of history, women have always been great leaders. From the areas of science, ecology, and politics, to name a few, the advances by female leaders, um, dot, dot, dot. That's what I have. Oh,
Okay.
have shaped our history.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a definite good start. Ooh la la.
Thank you.
It's wooing me as a listener, right? And it got me hooked right there, and that's what you need in the beginning. So that's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. So say what you're gonna say. Say it. Say what you said. Although not quite so much that, right? That's more for like school. For the speech, it's a little different, but ultimately it's slightly the same feel. Uh, whereas like in the beginning, it's it's the introductory, it's the thesis, which you just provided.
Okay.
I think the part of working in the honor, the women's achievements throughout history, both, past, present, and future, we can find a place to work that in, even if it's not in the very beginning point. It may be more appropriate towards the end anyway.
Okay, yeah. Um, and I think with that, like, um, something along the lines of, yes, California and California values. Um, oh gosh.
California has, well, uh, I guess before I say that, I might want to make sure I do some research and make sure it's absolutely true. I was about to say, California historically values its women. um, of course, all of our indigenous sisters and brothers uh, would justifiably, most likely, disagree. Uh, because obviously Native women were not given that same respect historically and still to this day. So, I want to say something nice, but I don't know if there's a way to say it because we're not gonna lie, right? and we're not going to overly embellish to the point where it's treading on the borders of lie either,
So
because there's no need to.
what about California named for Queen Khalifa?
Oh yes. The name of California itself comes from the mythological Queen Khalifa. A notable example of I was going to say in the historic respect for women, but no, an
Yeah, because
historic elevation of women, maybe, or the woman figure. I don't know. There's a good way to say it, I'm sure. I don't think that was it though.
okay, we can play around with that.
First time elevating the status of women, name a nation after them.
Sorry, I'm I'm WhatsApping my husband.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of thinking aloud. We could.
Let's see. I sort of want to read more up on this because this is news to me.
Yeah, well, and then the one of the representatives from Baja was just telling us or telling me on Sunday about how Cabo San Lucas was originally Cabo California. That was the very first time California, the name, was used to name a place of any kind.
Wait.
So we could do a direct shout out of solidarity with our Baja brothers and sisters who are also Californian, right? In Baja, California.
We could. We have to be very careful. Uh, we don't want to sound too much like Matt.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because he would go on long spiels about that.
Yeah, and there kind of isn't a way to include that without a whole paragraph.
Yeah, this is a speech, not a research paper.
Yeah. What if we do it like a timeline and we're just naming examples? Sheba, Queen of Nubia, of the Nubian Empire. Cleopatra, right? Nefertiti.
Nefertiti would come first.
Yes, that's true. So would Hatshepsut, I believe. Although I don't know how much ancient Egyptian we should really go into. I think one or two notable examples would probably suffice. And
Okay, so let's
who is
do Catherine the Great. Like, let's just list them. We'll worry about the order later.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I'm slightly tempted to include the pirate queen of China, but I mean she was
Okay, so there was actually a female empress of China. I can't remember.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Emperor of China, Wu Zetian.
Wu Sei, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Wu Zetian. Yeah. Tsarina Yekaterina, Catherine the Great, who was German, by the way. She was German imperial family that got married into the czars.
If you look at it, majority of European nobility was German.
Yeah. Even the Queen of England is German.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Her grandfather changed their name to Windsor because of World War One.
Von Hanover. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And notably, von Hanover is much lower on the totem pole than von Schrader. You ask a German what the name von Schrader means, you're probably going to get it. Wait, what? Von Hanover is they were a nothing. She only ever became a something because her father sold her off like cattle to go be married to a dude who was 50 years older than her, who then croaked, and she inherited his whole thing. And she did go and do stuff with it. She was a bit of a conqueror, but she also, I mean, she was a woman of power, right?
Well, a lot of women didn't really have rights. They were chattel.
Yeah, and I do know from my studies of British history, her being queen was not overall widely accepted as the right move at first until she kind of proved herself. And once she did, she basically set a whole new standard, which then allowed for the current queen, when her husband died, it was like, oh yeah, no brainer. I mean, she's the queen. Obviously, it goes to her. Whereas before Queen Victoria, it really wasn't that way. Like, a queen, once her king was dead, was back to being cattle or less.
Yeah.
So she did, set an example. I also like Susan B. Anthony. There is controversy that she gets credited where majority there were some Black women leaders who were leading the movement too, and the name that everyone knows is Susan B. Anthony, because she was the white lady, right? What made the thing big, really, and why I stick with it, is because at a point in time where very, very few non-white people were able to find white people that would champion their cause, she readily stepped up and championed the cause for all women. And she wasn't just, just white women. There was the historic caving that happened with, well, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Let's just secure women's ability to vote first, and then we'll move on to dealing with color. Because, the whole country was still super segregated, and, pretty much all of America was a bunch of racists.
Yeah, I know for some of the first women's marches, they asked the Black women to march in the back because they did not want to isolate the Southern supporters. So they kept the marches segregated.
Yeah, and now it's a horrible thing, and I'm not justifying it, but there is validity to the thing. I mean,
oh yeah, no, I put
had
her
they
on
made their stand, they could have justifiably made their stand, and then it would have scared off the Southern supporters, and then next thing you know, women would probably still not have the right to vote to this day. And one of the things that ultimately led to, the civil rights movement being like secured as segregation is illegal, all citizens have the right to vote, no one is any lesser than. It was actually largely in part to the progress that the women's rights, women's suffrage movement made. Black women could go, well, hey, I may be Black, but I'm a woman, therefore I still have the right to vote, right? And they're like, well, let's debate this in our high court council for like 6 years. And they're like, no, we want our, we want our decision. And they really forced the issue because they had a precedent. And that's what a lot of law comes down to is, do you have some sort of precedent and or mandate?
Yeah.
And because those women did have precedent, they had to address the issue of, okay, well, we've said this group of people has this inalienable right. Yet we're also saying that they don't. We can't contradict ourselves. We have to decide one way or the other. And so they said, well, life's going to kick me back out to the curb if I undo this, women's voting thing, because she did it, to get me to vote for it before. So I'm definitely going to be smart and not undo this. Let's go ahead and, give the people what they want. Fine. Hey, progress, right? Woohoo.
Yeah, I know there was a Greek protest by women. I don't know what it was about. Let me look it up. But the women withheld sex, and they got the men to do what they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, in Iceland, I believe, women to gain the right to vote or like equal pay, or actually, yeah, I think it was for equal pay. Every single woman in the entire country, which was like, I think 60% of their population, decided, nope, I'm not going to work this week. Y'all can screw off and fend for yourselves. The next day, their parliament passed legislation giving them exactly what they were demanding. And they went back to work, and now we're earning equal pay. And that's like, I mean, we might be able to track down, who headed that thing because it's a historic thing, but it's a notable example of like, look what we can do when we all get together. And there were men who joined in on it.
I'm looking it up. Okay. Vice has an article on it. I'm sending it.
Yes. Okay, Kit Kat, fine. The lap is yours. I'm done taking notes.
Yeah, so okay. The list I have so far, we have Queen of Sheba, Nefertiti, Hatshepsut, Cleopatra, Catherine the Great, Elizabeth I, Wu Zetian, Susan B. Anthony, Razia Sultana, Rosa Parks.
And Nicola Sturgeon.
Oh, okay. Going ahead and start doing all the prime ministers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say Scotland, Finland, New Zealand. There was a woman who I believe before Benjamin Netanyahu took power once again or whatever, there was a woman who was in charge, and she was actually working to bring peace to the Middle East and like, like actually find a peaceful solution with the Palestinian people. She's one of the few Israeli leaders that I've been like, oh my, wow, hey, I want to see more from this person. And she was horrifically assassinated when they were on their way to go and finalize the peace agreement. And then Benjamin Netanyahu took power. Surprise, surprise. And then,
Well, Yasser Arafat was assassinated as well for that.
yeah, and yeah, it's not to say anything bad about Israel specifically, but any time any nation has a corrupt leader, if they don't do something about it, then the rest of the world pays, and usually with lives.
Golda Meir.
Wait, say that again?
Her name was Golda Meir.
Oh, the woman who organized the
Israeli prime
Golda
minister.
Meir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Wow, these are some really good examples.
Yeah. But I think we need to start coming more to the present with people we're listing. So,
Yeah.
Greta,
I would say Nicola Sturgeon. Yeah, Greta Thunberg, Nicola Sturgeon, who is the current First Minister of Scotland, who's leading the Scottish National Party for independence. We've got Angela Merkel.
I think we need to put Malala.
Remind me.
She was well, she's not a little girl anymore, but she stood up against the Taliban for girls' education in
Oh,
Pakistan and got shot in
yeah.
the head.
Yeah.
Malala Yousaf.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
she turned
Yeah.
21 this year. I follow her on Twitter.
Okay. I'd also kind of like to give a little shout out to Tulsi Gabbard, or senator, right, or congressional representative. I forget the exact title. She's one of those big wig top three elites. But she also actually served in the military as a totally badass Hawaiian woman. Like
Okay.
when I think of women of power, right? I'm like, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And she totally destroyed Kamala Harris during the primary debate.
Okay. As far as American female politicians, we have Tulsi Gabbard, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar. I'm gonna put Rashida Tlaib too.
Wait, you're gonna put who?
Rashida Tlaib.
Oh yes, Talib. Yes, yes. Oh, that's right. Don't they call them like they call them the big three or something like that? No.
Yeah, there's four of them. There's also another woman who oh, she always gets shunted to the back. She's African American. Um, big
Oh well, then we should
four.
definitely bring her forward.
Let's see. The Squad, that's what they're called.
Yeah, the squad. Thank you. I knew they had sort of cutesy little pet name. And it's not that they gave it to themselves, it's that they have been dubbed that.
Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, Rashida Tlaib, and then AOC.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love AOC's story. Like, anytime any of these corporate fat cat autocrats give her grief about, oh, well, you don't know. And she's like, hey, I've done and actually like worked. Okay. You don't get to tell me. Like, yes, rip him a new one. Do it, AOC. Finish him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we got a pretty good list. Mm.
And you got
I sort of,
Finland and New Zealand uh,
uh-huh,
prime ministers in there. Okay.
I did. Yeah, I actually want to look up some African female leaders.
Yeah.
Well, first African women leaders to address the UN General. Let's see. Come on, Google. Thank you. Okay. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia first addressed the UN in 2006. She was the first female
African head to address them. Um,
And what year was that? That might be worth noting, right?
2006, but she was president of Liberia 2006 to 2018. So
Okay. Yeah, see, that's noteworthy. I definitely think all of these are awesome examples and should definitely be used. And when we use them, right, use them all as highlights of this general theme. The likes of so and so who did this, and so of this, the ruler of this empire who, did all that.
Joyce Banda, she was the first female head of state in Southern Africa, 2012 to 2014. And she was vice president before that.
In which nation?
Malawi.
Oh, wow. Malawi.
Yeah, I just sent you the list I'm going off of.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's it's after 10.
Yeah, it is. I don't mind if we're gonna table this because I'm pretty sure there's a Harry Potter movie waiting for me.
Always a good choice.
Yeah, right. Not that I didn't read all the books. Not that I didn't have the Philosopher's Stone before it was the Sorcerer's Stone when there was no year one on the side because it wasn't a series yet. Yeah, no, it's not like I'm a hardcore fan. It's not like I was 11 years old when that book came out and Harry Potter was 11 years old or anything.
I literally have a sticker on the back of my car that says baby muggle on board. I am a huge Potterhead. I literally made everybody in my office at my old job take the sorting hat quiz.
Well, might it please you to know that I actually let me ask you, what's your take? What house do you think I would be placed in? What's your take on me so far?
I'm gonna say Ravenclaw.
Ooh, bingo on the money. Yep.
What house do you think I'm in?
You know, I'm kind of tied. I would guess you as a fellow Ravenclaw as well. However, I could also see Gryffindor, and that's the trouble. Is like there's only one thing that sets a Ravenclaw apart from a Gryffindor, and that's the drive to be out there and in the front.
I am a Gryffindor.
Okay, yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
funny, like all of my girlfriends, like they're all Ravenclaw, and we were talking about it, and they're like, "Yeah, we're the Ravenclaw club," and I was like, "Actually, I'm Gryffindor."
I always thought that I would have been a Gryffindor, and the more that I learned before there was ever a sorting hat quiz, right? The more I learned about what makes what, I realized, oh, I would probably be Ravenclaw. I am much more intellect based. I mean, the only reason Hermione's hats all went to Gryffindor instead of Ravenclaw was that, need to prove herself because she was of Muggle parentage. had to prove that she was the best witch that there could be, right? And that's when I
Yeah.
was like, oh, well, okay. But those brains and that aptitude says Ravenclaw. But if you're really set on being out there in the front, go do it, because Gryffindor's got the brains too. They just also have that, you know, lion heart courage.
What's your Myers-Briggs?
Oh man. I could ask my foster mom real quick. she had me do the Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram and all that. We went over it at one point, and I was like, yeah, okay, you know, I agree with that. Like, you know, I have to give it. I'm one of those people. I'm too scientific minded to, you know, not be able to call myself out. Like, I know I'm long winded. I know it, right? I'm like, no sense lying to myself. So, like, you know, there were some things in there that some people might find to be not endearing qualities if they found it out about themselves on a piece of paper or whatever. Um, for me, it was stuff I've already kind of known about myself anyway, and yeah, well, you know, I'm me.
Yeah, I'm an ENFP, and it's it's considered the champion, like advocate, you know, standing up for what's right and stuff. And it goes right along with the Gryffindor thing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, no, that's right. I shouldn't message her right now because she's probably gonna be working tomorrow, and it's already after. I'll ask her about that though, because I'm pretty sure she still has it somewhere on file in, you know, the digital world.
I will actually send you one that you might like to take, just because it is Star Wars related.
Oh, well, if it's gonna ask, would I be light side or dark side? I am neither. I would be one of those force beings that Yoda encountered, that Qui-Gon was studying from, that Yoda sent Obi-Wan to go learn from when they went in hiding. Um, I would be one of those, or if I couldn't be that, then I would just be a Zabraki force adept. Zabraki because I could have Night Sister magic power that is not the Force, as well as use the Force.
Yeah,
Okay, what character are you? Okay.
yeah, I've
Oh, based on where? Okay, this ought to be interesting.
yeah, it's
It's
been
gonna
years
be
since I've
like,
taken this.
it's gonna put me as either Luke or Han. I know it. They always.
I got Qui-Gon Jinn, so
Okay, now see that's one that I would be like, oh, okay, hey, you know, I'll take it. You call me a Qui-Gon Jinn, I take that as a compliment, even though Darth Maul killed him.
yeah, like getting sliced in half. Well, stabbed through. Darth Maul's the one that got sliced in half and then reanimated. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. And that, like, Darth Maul's story is, and like when he stops being Darth Maul and just goes back to being Maul, and that's his brother Savage, right? Savage Opress, who was part of the Jedi Order until betraying them and going to fight alongside Maul.
Oh boy, no, I don't know that much. I'm definitely more of a Trekkie. Like,
I could like draw you a map of the entire Star Wars galaxy, including what lies beyond the Outer Rim. I used to play a D&D Star Wars Smugglers Run as well as Knights of the Old Republic uh, series of games with some friends.
when I was younger, I would have, but yeah, Disney's just killed it for me.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing was like Disney had just got their grubby little paws on some of Star Wars. They got some permissions, right? They hadn't outright bought Star Wars yet. And George Lucas actually lived here in Marin, San Rafael, no less, Lucas Valley. um, but at that point, we realized we were going to go off of the official indoctrinated canon that like of all of the stuff that people have written in, only the stuff that Lucas and Lucas Limited has said yes to, right? Anything else we did not include. That's also why with our smugglers run, we, if you know what glitter stim is, like the most addictive substance known to all addictive substances. It's so addictive, other addictive substances get addicted to it. um, yeah, that was what we ended up. Basically, we were like, if if Han Solo ended up forming up the Han Solo shipping company and then taking over the entire galaxy through getting everyone hooked on drugs. Made a bunch of galactic credits though and bought the Empire and then absolved it and dissolved it and restored the public or the Republic, right? Yeah. It was a funny way to go about doing the right thing. Yeah, that's how big I am into it. Like I I could tell you how many units of glitter stim you can fit in each crate and how many crates can fit in a Corellian cruiser.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super nerd. I'm sorry.
No judgment. I'm a huge Potterhead and Lord of the Rings nerd. So, and Trekkie.
Yeah. And I love the movies for having a visual aid with it, but like man, there's so much that they left out. So much.
That's normal though. Movies can never compete with a book.
Yeah, but they're like was it like Order of the